Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? This is your boy Jay Mason. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Album Cover, where we get the inside scoop with those in the know within the music industry and give them their flowers while they're here so that they can be celebrated and revered. Right now with me, I have my man from BK. He's been in the game for decades, back in the days of the part jams, got his own radio show, producing, everything else in between. The one, the only, the incredible, the couple, Mr. DJ Swanny River. Swanny, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Happening? What's good? What's everything, my brother? What's going on?
Not much, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to be with me on the podcast.
Of course. Why not? It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Yeah, and I want to give a special shout out to the professor for linking us up and making this interview happen.
Yeah, shout out to the pro. Yeah, you already know.
Yeah, so how are you holding up with COVID, and how's it been affecting you as a DJ, knowing that gigs are kind of dry right now?
Well, you know what? Thank God that I have my radio show, which is airing tonight at New York time, 10 p.m. on All Digital Radio, RWS Radio. Yeah, thank God for that, man. Because if not, man, I think I'll be losing my mind.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of concert promoters and everybody else losing their minds right now because no venues, no money. And then as you're seeing now, because of what D-Night's been doing on IG, that the labels have been cracking down on, no, you can't play this because you don't own it. Yeah,
well, see, the station that I'm working with, you know, they take care of everything, so I can play whatever I want.
Hey, that's how it goes. To have somebody else do the work for you so that you don't get hit with that cease and desist later. So let's take it back to the very beginning. Where did your love of DJing come from? And did you grow up going to any of the park jams during the early days of hip hop?
Well, a quick story. I was with my family I think I was 10 years old. We were on our way to my aunt's house. She lived in the Bronx. And when we got to the building, I heard this music playing, you know, and I'm like, man, where's that music coming from? And as we get closer to the building, I see this guy DJing outside. And I didn't know who he was. But later on in life, I found out that it was the grand, incredible DJ Grandmaster Flash, DJing in front of my aunt's building. And when I saw him put his hand on that record and jiggy, 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 I said to myself, that is what I want to do. I got to do that. I want to do that. You know, so I had another friend of mine, Bobby Simmons. He taught me how to do good times. He taught me how to scratch up good times. And as I practiced and listened to all the Grandmaster Flash's records and watching him watching his videos, and I saw him in the movie Wild Style, and I got better and better and better, and I fell in love with DJing. That was like my thing. At the age of, I should say at the age now, at 12, I was in the neighborhood, you know, playing music outside. You know, I was like the youngest, the youngest out of everybody that was playing music.
Right. Now, to set the scene up for those that may not be old enough to remember what it was like during hip-hop's early years, where they would either go to basements in an apartment building, a rec center, or a park, anywhere that they could, and they would bring out the big, long speakers. And this took a crew of about 10 or more because you had somebody carrying the equipment.
I had my own crew.
And then the way you got your foot in the door was you would pass the records to the DJs, and depending on who they were, they had it according to BPMs or whatever genre.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of like your way of getting down with the crew, was to carry the crates.
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Carry the crates, carrying the speakers, carrying the coffin with where the turntables sit. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then also too, there was no such thing as permits. So what they had to do was hot wire their equipment into the light pole so that they can get juice for their equipment. Man, I grew up watching Crush Groove, Wild Style, and Beat Street, so I seen how it was done, man.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Let me tell you, man, after seeing Grandmaster Flash for the first time ever, like I said, I didn't know who he was at the time, you know, and there was a crew in my neighborhood called the Dance Masters. They call themselves the Dance Masters Disco. It was DJ Scooter Love and Smitty. And those two used to play music behind my building, under my window. And seeing Grandmaster Flash and watching these guys, man, DJing is just, man, that was something that like music is like my whole life. It's my life.
Right. And this past week is the anniversary of that day at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, where Kool Herc threw that back to school party.
Yeah.
And this little thing, genre called hip hop was born. Go ahead and clarify.
Right. Exactly. That's the father. He's the father of hip hop. He's the creator of hip hop, DJ Kool Herc. You know, and then you have Africa Bambaataa and you have Grandmaster Flash. Those three are the holy trinity. The holy trinity of hip hop. And then for those three cats, we wouldn't have hip hop today.
Right, and then you also have your pioneers like your DJ Hollywoods, your Love Bud, Starsky, Eddie Chiba, P. DJ Jones, DJ Flowers, Disco Twins, Grand Wizard Theodore, and the list, Jazzy J, Africa Islam, the list that goes on and on of all the DJs that preceded the three.
Now that you say Africa Islam, I did a song with Africa Islam years ago. The song was called Son of a Rapper Dapper Snapper by this gentleman by the name of Edward Birdsong. I did some scratches on the record and I did some human beatbox on the record.
So you're saying that at 12 you wanted to get in. Did you lock yourself in a room, practice all summer so that you can learn how to beat juggle, know your BPMs, and know where to put your marks?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And who was the first DJ that you remember taking you under their wing as your mentor and kind of showing you the ropes? And this is how you set your own stuff up when booking for club gigs or when you're cutting the mixtape.
Yeah. Well, the first DJ was Scooter, because Scooter Love, he was dating my sister. So he heard me playing music in my room one day. So he came in, he was like, "What are you doing in here?" And when he saw that I had the plastic turntables, you know, with the tape, with the nickel tape to the arm, and he looked at me, he laughed, but then he said, "Come here, I'm going to teach you a thing or two." Now, mind you, I had the kind of turntables that didn't have pitch control. So what I used to use was toilet paper. People laugh at when I say that. I used to take the toilet paper, roll it up, and put it under the plate, and it would slow the plate down, so I can mix this song with this song. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and very ingenious way of do it yourself, and that's what I admired about the early DJs and producers of hip hop, where you pretty much had your home studio and you just made do with what you had.
Yeah. With what I had, exactly.
And then also another little factor that a lot of DJs benefited from, that blackout on that night, and I believe it was 77, where everybody was hitting up Crazy Eddie's or whatever your local electronic store was to start up a DJ crew. The statute of limitations is up, so don't feel bad if you took anything, but a lot of crews sprung up overnight because of that. And then mixtapes were getting passed around from borough to borough, and some DJs had at the beginning, do not copyright, because if I catch you with it and you weren't supposed to have it, then it was going to be beat down on site.
Right, exactly. I remember, I think I was 10 years old when the blackouts happened. I remember taking like a piece of sandpaper and scratching out the labels, because I didn't want nobody to have what I have. I just scratched them out, and then I will put something on the label so I know what that song is.
Right. And this was, of course, back in the day when there was this thing where it's no biting. No biting. No copying. You had to be original.
If you bit somebody's routines, or you bit what somebody else was doing, man, that was an instant beatdown, of course.
And I'm sure, like you were saying, you scratched out the records that you had because you didn't want no DJs to get a leg up.
Right.
So I'm sure
Yeah.
all the DJs were very stingy with where they got their collection. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you where I got this from. Like,
Yeah.
you either get it from somebody that you're in good with at a record store, or you knew somebody that had a private stash and you brought it off of them.
Right. But see, let me tell you this. By the age of 15, 16, in my neighborhood, there was a store called Soul Shack, right? And I used to go to that store. I used to cut school just to go and hang out in that store. So the owner of the store, the guy, he started liking me because, I was very curious about how they're selling records and how they're doing stuff in that store. He gave me a part-time job in that store. When he told me you can work here part-time, but you have to go back to school, it was like the heavens opened up. I get free records. So I get exclusive stuff. So I worked in that store for after high school, then I worked in there full-time. And I was getting free records. I had so many records, man. I mean, I still have them. They're in my sister's basement. I think I have maybe well over 100, maybe 125 milk crates in her basement. Yeah, in her basement. And she keeps fighting. She keeps fighting with me because she wants me to take them things out of there, and I refuse.
That's an insane collection. Hey, I'll give you these free records, but you got to go back to school. And a couple of years ago, I did an interview with Tom Moulton, and he was telling me about the history of the 12-inch and how disco went hand in hand with hip hop. And the birth of the 12-inch was designed to keep everybody dancing on the floor, because before the 12-inch, they would try to compress long records onto a 33, and the sound wouldn't be as clean and as crisp. So the 12-inch developed into longer records, which got people on the floor and led to what we now know as the dance / remix or extended mix culture.
Right. Yeah, because 12-inch records, like, if you buy it, back then, if you bought a whole album, every song, the tracks were compressed. A 12-inch, one song, the tracks, the grooves were opened up a little bit, so the quality was much better.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then also, Sylvia Robinson with Sugar Hill Records put out Rapper's Delight with Sugar Hill Gang, and they used the in-house band for a lot of those records. And then just recently, I was listening to Questlove Supreme, and they interviewed Rick Rubin, and he was saying how while that was good for getting hip hop into the door, they necessarily didn't care for it because it still kind of had R&B undertones where it was smooth. But once Def Jam came out, it was street. It was more of, this is what the kids are listening to, and it's not polished.
Right.
So what were some of the rap records that you ended up spending your hard-earned money on that you can remember saying, I'm going to save up my money to get this album?
Man, let me tell you something. Working in that store, I would order special stuff for myself. Like, I remember, wow, you're taking me way back. I remember, of course, the Sugar Hill Gang, and I got a story about that song. The Sugar Hill Gang, Spoonie G, Love Rap, Willie's Rap. I remember all these songs. Wow. The Funky 4 plus one more, another Sugar Hill artist. I mean, there was so many tracks. Oh my God. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to remember these, but yeah, I used to spend a lot of Sugar Hill, a lot of Profile Records, a lot of hip hop.
So a lot of
when hip hop was a baby.
Yeah, so a lot of Enjoy, Emergency, Sleeping Bag, Wild Pitch, Cold Chillin', South Soul, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, Bismarcky and Big Daddy Kane and and Eric B and Rakim. I mean, the list is endless because those songs are timeless. Those songs are timeless because if you play those songs today, people will go crazy.
Mm-hmm. It still get the dance
floor
going.
Of course, because those are classics. I mean, I don't care who gets mad at this, but these rappers today, they do not make classic music. None of his songs are. I mean, I don't see myself playing a little Beak or whatever his name is. I don't see myself playing that 10 years from now. I don't see it.
Or WAP.
I mean, it's not a classic song. You just said WAP. Look, do the WAP. You play that song at a party, do the WAP. People get up and they'll do the damn thing.
Now, at this time, was hip hop slowly leaking into each borough, or was it where it was started in this borough, then it slowly traveled to each borough, or was all boroughs kind of end on it at the same time?
Yeah, well, no, not really, because when like I said, Scooter and Smitty, Scooter was a rapper. He was also a rapper, so he was DJ and he's rapping. Just to get the crowd hyped and make everybody dance and have a good time. So hip hop, I mean, rapping. See, you gotta understand, hip hop is the culture. Yeah, hip hop is the culture. Rap is the music. Because in hip hop, you have the elements of rapping, DJing, graffiti, and breakdancing, and knowledge of self. That's 5 elements in hip hop. So you have the DJing part and the rapping part. They will always go hand in hand, and the breakdancing. They will always go hand in hand. But hip hop was all over the place.
Right, and
that was a New York thing.
Right, and then another thing I want to mention too is that the downtown scene also meshed with hip hop, because you had Blondie doing Rapture, and then when they hosted SNL, Funky 4+1 More performed on there. Fab Five Freddy was in the middle between both worlds, between uptown and downtown, and that kind of led to some of the hipsters, the art scene, getting down with that. But from me being from North Carolina and seeing hip hop from a Southern perspective, it was looked at where it was exclusively a New York thing. And pretty much everything that was coming from New York will always come to other regions a couple of months late. So we would think it would be brand spanking new, but you're like, man, we heard this months ago.
Yeah.
We heard it months ago, because the only time that we would hear like Ron G, Who Kid Capri, any of the mixtapes out of New York was if you had somebody that was from up north coming down south to either go to school or visit family, and they'll take it with them. And that's the beauty of hip hop and of rap, is because when all the other regions started to get a hold, you had a different sound, you had a different look, you had a different vibe. What was going on in LA was totally different in New York or Philly or Atlanta or Houston. It was like everyone had their own unique style.
Right. Absolutely.
And then also a game changer for me was when a little kid from the St. Nicholas Projects was hearing the sounds of hip hop at the Harlem World. And he said, let me take these street sounds with the melodic approach of R&B, merge them together, and we have the phenomenon known as New Jack Swing. So what was your thoughts on when Teddy Riley took R&B and hip hop and made it into that fresh new sound?
Well, when I first heard when I first heard the New Jack Swing for the first time, it blew my mind. It blew my mind because it was something new. It blew my mind, but I wasn't really. But as what's his name? Heavy D. When Heavy D came out, that's when I fell in love. I said, yeah, this is that thing. I gotta have some of this. So I used to buy all their records. Anything with Teddy Riley's name on it, I would buy.
Right, Teddy Riley was definitely the man, because if you think about R&B prior to Make It Last Forever, so 87, back. It was more polished. It was more adult. You had Luther, Freddie, Anita, Sade, and then we were also still in the midst of the Minneapolis sound with Prince, the time, everything that was coming out of there. So, rest in peace, Prince. So once Make It Last Forever dropped, it was R&B had changed. But I also want to give props to the Full Force, because Full Force laid the groundwork for what was to come with New Jack, because they were kind of doing that with Lisa, UTFO, Cheryl Pepsi Riley, and their own production. So they were kind of in the midst of that as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. When I heard Lisa, man, I fell in love with that woman. You know, she is the reigning queen of freestyle music.
And freestyle,
that's Latin hip hop. Yeah, she is the reigning queen. You know, there's a lot of females who do that type of music, but I think she was the first.
And what were your thoughts when Beastie Boys first came into the game, put out License to Ill? Because we got to think about it. Before them, there were no white acts coming in and doing hip hop. So everybody was looking at it like, hold on, who are these three white boys trying to rap?
I mean, when I heard the Beastie Boys for the first time, I was like, they're making fun of hip hop, and I don't like it.
Yeah, because I like License to Ill, but some of the lyrics and some of the songs that were on there kind of sounded very Animal House, frat boy.
Frat boy, childish nonsense.
Right. Yeah. But then Run DMC came out with their debut in Raising Hell. That was another game changer, because a lot of people, because with Russell being Run's brother, a lot of people thought that they were signed to Def Jam, but they were on Profile, but Def Jam affiliated. I mean, their beats were hard. They had that first look of, we're not going to dress in costumes like rock acts or P-Funk. We're going to dress like the dudes in the streets. We're going to have the Godfather hats, the gold chains, the black leaves, and my Adidas.
You know, I used to dress like them too. Man, I used to have the Adidas suits with the Kango hat, you know, the big chain. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, my Adidas, because as the story goes, I think they were performing at Madison Square Garden, and I think a rep from Adidas was there. And they were about to go into my Adidas, and Run told the audience, take one of your shoes, put it in the air, and that led Adidas to say, hey, we need to get in business with hip hop. But the cornerstone of Def Jam is a man who got his start as a rapper, then transitioned into acting, businessman, everything else. And don't let that NCIS money fool you, because he can still give you that 16 bars if you come to him wrong. Uncle L, LL Cool J. So
LL serving him well. Yep.
Personally, in my top 5 of MCs, and just to see his career to where he was signed to Def Jam, put out radio in 85, and to still be relevant 4 decades later is just a testament to his staying power and willingness to reinvent himself.
Right. You know, LL, skinny kid from Queens. I saw him in that movie Crush Groove for the first time. When I saw him, and I was okay. This dude got some, you know, he got some bars. But when he dropped that album, that radio album, and everybody knows he was the first rapper to do a love song. The first rapper to do a love song. I Need Love. No other rappers was doing that. He was the pioneer of that.
Right. And
then everybody started doing their own little rendition, and you know.
Yep, and he's still eating off of that. And also, I want to give props and highlight Houdini.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Houdini. Escape album, big album. Friends, big album. Thomas Dolby did a lot of their earlier records. You know, Mr. Magic's.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Mr. Magic's one. Yeah, Thomas Dolby did that because they were signed to Jive, and they went over to the UK to do some of the work on the Escape album.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, Larry Smith, may he rest in peace. But also, another point I want to highlight about Houdini was they were a part of the first big rap tour, the Fresh Fest, which was put together by Mr. Michael Malden, who's the dad of Jermaine Dupri, who was the dancer for Houdini on that tour. And also on that tour was the Fat Boys.
Yeah, you're taking me way back, man. You're taking me way back, way back.
That's what I try to do. The Fat Boys I thought was dope, but I think with their rhymes and stuff, a lot of people weren't taking them seriously as MCs, looking at it as a novelty act because, you know, Kush Groove. Then they did Disorderlies, the Beach Boys record Wipeout. But what really made the label kind of go away was when Prince Marky D branched out on his own to do his own stuff in his production and linked up with Corey Rooney.
Right. I really don't want to give it away, but I live on Buffy's block. Wow. I'm living on Buffy's block. That's where I live. They're all from East New York, and the block I live on back in the days was the block Buffy used to live on. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said that 3 times, but yeah.
Crazy. Rest in peace to Human Beatbox Buffy. And then from a group that merged R&B and hip hop, but had that old school 50s doo-wop sound. Originally, they were called the Force MCs, later renamed to the Force MDs. So what was that like, kind of seeing those guys taking R&B?
Girl, yeah. Those guys were great at harmonizing. They used to harmonize everything, man. Those guys. I mean, when they dropped that track, "Forgive Me, Girl," I was like, wow, like, you know, hip hop is really evolving, you know, from the hood to global.
Yeah, and it's
go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying it's still the world's most popular listened to music, but if you just think about what they were doing, it was revolutionary because hip hop and R&B was like, you remember the old school Reese's peanut butter cup commercial where you had the chocolate candy bar on one side and the peanut butter on the other side, and the two never met until by accident, and you're like, this is pretty good.
Into each other. They crashed into each other, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good once you put them both together, and it's been making sweet, beautiful music ever since. And then a funny story about another group that merged R&B and hip hop, New Edition, because I know that in interviews they were talking about when Candy Girl first dropped, they were used to come to New York a lot and do a lot of club shows, and they would go to all 5 boroughs, be in Manhattan here, then hop and go to Queens here, and just really get their bearings. And I just found it kind of interesting that with them being the first generation of kids growing up with hip hop and then incorporating that into a Jackson 5 inspired ditty, it was dope to see that, and then just to see where all 6 of them have gone on to their solo careers. You know, BBD.
I remember when I first heard Candy Girl, I thought it was the Jackson 5, to be honest with you. I was like, wow, look at that. And when I saw that first video, I was like, wow, these kids are unbelievable, man. It's incredible.
Right. Definitely dope. They're still strong to this day. And then once Bobby exploded with Don't Be Cruel, I mean, just looking at his whole persona, his attitude was straight hip hop.
Yeah. I was, I'm gonna be honest with you, I was never a Bobby Brown fan. I was never into Bobby Brown. I mean, the group, yes. The New Edition, yes. But Bobby, because I thought he was just too cocky, too ridiculous with, certain things that he was doing. But that one song, Don't Be Cruel, I used to play that. I remember playing that one time at this party, and the crowd responded. It was when that record first dropped. The crowd responded. Their response was like a little, but like after a while, then that song caught on, and people were like, play that, play this. Like, all right, I'll play it, but I'm not really I'm not really a Bobby Brown fan.
Right, not too keen on it, but also I want to highlight this man who had a show on WHBI, and it later transitioned onto WBLS, which was headed at the time by the late great Chief Rocker, Mr. Frankie Crocker, Mr. Magic, and the Rap Attack. And the importance of that was the seed for everything that was to come with Cold Chillin', because Marley Marl was with Mr. Magic, Fly Tie, and then everybody else from Cold Chillin', BDK, Biz, Roxanne, came on later.
I remember one day Frankie Crocker saying that he would never play rap music on his show. He said, I would never play that. That's noise and nonsense. I remember him saying that until Rapper's Delight came out, because Rapper's Delight was a major, major hit. And he had no choice but to play it.
Yep. Once the people start talking, you have to play it.
You have to listen to the people. The people are the ones who are paying you, so you gotta listen to them.
And then also at Kiss FM, you had Red Alert and Chuck Chill Out doing their own show too as well.
Those are my idols, man. Those dudes are still my idols. Red Alert and Chuck Chill Out, man. Never met them. I would love to meet them, but those guys, man, they're still my idols.
Wow. Yeah, and I know a lot of folks made a lot of money recording those tapes, selling them, and you probably had your Fresh J's and everything like that. So right around this time, Def Jam was exploding. Then you had the birth of everything that was coming out of I would want to call the conscious movement. You had PE, you had De La Soul, who was on Tommy Boy, 3 Feet High and Rising, dope album. You had Tribe Called Quest blowing up. Then you started having some acts from Jersey seeping in. And then we also started seeing a lot of West Coast acts breaking through doing this time.
The first time I heard NWA, like, wow, you could say that on records? Really? Damn, you can curse like that? I was joined into NWA from the gate. As soon as I heard that first song, what was the song? Oh my God, what was that? What was their first hit?
Was it Boys in the Hood?
That was Eazy-E.
Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton, the name of the movie. Duh. Yeah, when I heard that song, man, I fell in love with NWA.
Right. So was there
Dr. Dre, when I heard Dr. Dre making beats, that's when I fell in love with making beats, because I wanted to be like him.
Right. So was there a lot of resistance at the time from a lot of East Coast DJs that weren't so warm to what was coming out West?
Well, a lot of East Coast DJs didn't want to play West Coast music because, hip hop, our attitudes was, it started here and it will stay here. We don't need nobody else from no other place to do what we do. We invented this. But, my attitude had to change, because I couldn't deny that. I couldn't deny NWA because the music was so good. It was good. So I used to play it for myself. I never played at parties or anything because nobody wanted to hear it, but I will play it for myself.
Right. And then you also had other acts out West, such as LA Dream Team. You had the World Class Wrecking Crew, Uncle Jam's Army, Egyptian Lover. And then if you go up I-5 to Seattle, you had Nasty Ness and Sir Mix-a-Lot doing their thing with Beepers, My Posse's on Broadway. And then the Southern sound was starting to take shape, because you had Spanish Fly out of Memphis, Jay Prince, Rap-A-Lot, of course, and then Uncle Luke in Miami.
Yeah, that's that man. That's the man.
Right.
The man.
Right. And then when you think about what Luke and Jay Prince were doing, it was at a time where a lot of people looked at what was coming out of the South as not up to par with what was coming out of the West Coast and LA and out of New York. So Luke and Jay Prince moved in different circles, because Jay Prince's content on Rap-A-Lot was more street oriented, with the Ghetto Boys, while Luke's music was dance all the way. And then Atlanta kind of caught on to what was going on in Miami and put their own spin onto the Miami bass sound. And that kind of planted the seeds to what we see now with the whole Southern dominance of rap.
Right. Right, absolutely. You know what? When I first heard that Miami bass, man, I played an Uncle Luke song. The song was called "Throw That Dick." Throw that dick. Throw. When I played that at a party, believe it or not, that stupid song blew out my speakers, man. So the party was cut short because the bass was so intense on that. You know, that 808 was so intense. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that 808 bass. Shout out to Uncle Luke for all of that, man. For real.
Right. And because of Uncle Luke, all the rappers have the right to say what they want to say on the records. Because you got to remember, rap was still looked at as, why are they saying this? And he actually went to the court to fight for your right to say those four nasty words on records. And won.
Freedom of speech. Like, I mean, what's the problem? Then that's when they gave us those stickers, those
parental advisory
stickers. Yeah, I remember that.
And then we also have the rise of Atlanta, because we have LaFace Records with LA Babyface, and then we also see what was coming out with Organized Noise, Outkast, and everything else.
I used to like Organized Noise, man. Organized Noise, they had some jams, man, for real.
Yeah, Organized Noise, dope. And when Outkast won the Source Award for Best New Artist, it was during the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. Andre 3000 got on stage and said, the South got something to say. And I'm sure for everybody else outside of the South, Outkast was a tough sell because it wasn't gang banging. It wasn't The Chronic. It wasn't Doggy Style. It wasn't that hardcore Biggie stuff, but it was unique to Atlanta.
It was good. I feel it was good music. It was good music all around. Listen, man, I am a hip hop lover. I love hip hop. You rapping on a record, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna listen to you. If I don't like it, I'm gonna tell you I don't like it.
Right.
You know, but like those songs from back in the day, man, for me, it's all good music. It's all in fun. I love it. Yeah. Right. Why not?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of everything too, and we just wrapped up the No Limit Chronicles, and what Master P did is still being talked about to this day, because who do you know was able to go into a record label and say, no, I want 80% of the profit. You get 20, and I get to keep all my money?
My masters and everything? Yeah.
Game changer, because he was talking about how when he put out I'm About It, he put up the money himself, and he kept all of the profits from the sales. He sold 2 million tapes at $10 a pop.
Yeah, man. The dude, he's definitely one of the great pioneers of hip hop.
Definitely one of the great pioneers. And then also out of Philly, we have Rough Riders. Their Chronicle special on BET is currently going right now. So Rough Riders, they had that street element to what they were doing. And I didn't know this until I saw the first episode, that DMX had a single deal with Rough House. Right. And when he put out the Born Loser record, it was produced by Chad Elliott, a.k.a. Dr. Seuss, a.k.a. Chad from Crush Groove, who I didn't know that was him until a couple years ago. And, of course, he did Stilo for 702.
You know what? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you something right quick?
Go ahead, bro.
I just tell you something? Brother, you are teaching me some things. For real, you're teaching me some things. I know some things, and you're telling me certain things that I didn't know, man. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, and then another thing that I find amazing about what the New Jack Swing sound was going on at the time with what Diddy and the late Andre Harrell, may he rest in peace, with Uptown, was they were able to take that smooth R&B sound, molded with hip hop, and have this thing called hip hop soul. He was able to take Mary from Yonkers, make her into the queen of hip hop soul. And then he took 4 guys out of my home state of North Carolina, turned them from church singing boys into singing bad boys, Jodeci. So, because I know for me, when I first saw the Forever My Lady album cover, I was looking at it like, this must be a rap album, because they don't look R&B at all.
No, they didn't. They didn't. For real, they didn't.
Right.
When that Forever My Lady record came out, man, that was a game changer right there.
Right.
That
Definitely a
was
game
real
changer.
sweet hip hop. I mean, some real sweet R&B, man. That was really wow.
Devontae doesn't get enough credit for his production. Also, I'll Be Sure, Cal West. Definitely got to big up them because think about it. I'll Be Sure's debut album was done before I'll Be entered Night and Day in the Sony Songwriters Innovators Contest, which got the eye of Quincy, and that led to his deal and then the Inner Black Mode album. Because when you hear Night and Day still to this day, it still hits.
Yeah, it hits hard. Yeah. Just like the Color Me Bad, it still hits hard.
Oh, shout out to Dr. Freeze and Spider-Man. I mean, they did, that. They did, of course, work for BBD. And what BBD was trying to do with the Poison album was that they wanted that Public Enemy Bomb Squad. Shout out to the Bomb Squad.
Yeah, right.
Their work with PE, and then when Ice Cube left NWA to put out America's Most Wanted.
Yeah. Yep.
Their production was so hard because when you listen to Poison still, it sounds just as hard and clean as a rap record, but it's a pure R&B record at heart.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And when Jersey started to blow, you had acts like Queen Latifah, Naughty, Poor Righteous Teachers, Lords of the Underground. Did a lot of New York guys still feel like, yeah, you guys are across the bridge. We don't even count you guys.
Listen, not me. Because let me tell you something. When I first heard Queen Latifah, that was an instant love affair. I fell in love with her automatically. That was just, as soon as I saw her and heard her, I fell in love. And then when everybody from the Flavor Unit started coming out, I was like, I'm hooked. I love that Jersey sound.
That dirty,
I love that.
gritty. And Reggie Noble, my top 5 on my Dead or Alive MCs. Reggie Noble, aka Redman. Rest in peace, Apache. And then also we got to give props to everything that was coming out of Philly at this time as well. You had Steady B, you had Cool C, Glamorous Right, Steezo, you had 3 Times Dope.
I heard Steezo passed away.
Yeah, Steezo passed away. Yeah, rest in peace, Steezo.
Yeah.
3 Times Dope out of Philly. They were dope.
Yeah.
And also Pop Art out of Philly don't get enough credit for their story.
What about the Poor Righteous Teachers? The Poor Righteous Teachers, they were from
Jersey.
Jersey, okay.
Yeah, they're from Jersey because I remember them in the Rock This Funky Joint video. They shot outside of the bridge in, I believe, Trenton, I want to say.
Yeah. What about Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs?
Ed O.G. and Bulldogs, they're from, I believe, Boston. Yeah.
Those are my dudes, man.
Yeah, I Gotta Have It, dope record.
Yeah.
And another group who I felt merged hip-hop and R&B very well, very underrated, Intro.
I forgot about those guys, man.
Yeah, Intro was serious. They were doing their work with Mary J. Blige, Shinehead, writing tracks for them. They came out of the Untouchables camp. Shout out to Eddie F., David Jam Hall, all of those guys. And their first 2 albums for me was straight no skips. No skip albums, and still gets banged to this day. And then we also got to look at this time where a young man from the Marcy Projects was under the tutelage by a man by the name of Jazzo, and in the video called Hawaiian Sophie. And then he set himself up nicely with the feature on Original Flavors, Can I Get Open? Shout out to North Carolina native Ski Beats.
It's funny how Jazzo dropped that record and gave Jay-Z his first shot, and Jay-Z exploded, and Jazzo is still back there somewhere. Just saying.
Yeah, and then a lot of labels turned down Jay-Z when approaching them for a deal, and that led him, Dame, and Kareem Biggs Burt to start Rockefeller. And as we see now, Jay-Z is, I believe, the first rap billionaire. So it's just amazing to see his
Yeah.
come up, his rise, and to see where he is now. But when you think back to that era of Rockefeller, Bad Boy, Murder Inc., what made New York at that time special to you as a DJ?
Mm-hmm.
Because those
Right.
records probably get heavy play at clubs like the Tunnel
Hell
or Insert
yeah.
Here, whatever hip hop club
Hell
was popping
yeah.
at the time.
Hell yeah. You know, like I told a friend of mine, you know, hip hop was something that started in the Bronx. Now it ended up in 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 Jerusalem somewhere, or Timbuktu, or Japan. You know, hip hop is no longer, you know, local. It's now global, and hip hop has influenced a lot of music today. A lot of well, can't say R&B because a lot of R&B is not really that much R&B out there. You know, some of the guys who are doing R&B today, I'm not gonna, I'm not going to, I'm not going to share that because of the, it's just, for me, it's just all, I don't know. I don't want to say
I get where you're going.
You know, you know, it's just like the music, today's music, they lost all respect for the culture. There's no respect for the culture, man. I mean, I can't see myself. Look at this numbnut, Takashi 69, I think he's ridiculous with the colorful nonsense, you know. And I think he's a numbnut. He's stupid. His music, I don't understand what he's saying because he's yelling too damn much. I don't get it. These new cats, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Even though it's still an extension of hip hop, I
Right.
get that. I get that. But I think I tuned out right after, I would say right after Biggie passed away. I tuned out.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
man, because once Biggie came out, it was like West Coast was dominating at the time. Because, you know, The Chronic
Mhm.
came out, Doggy Style came out a year later, Death Row was on the map. But once Ready to Die came out, it was like New York, but like, yeah, we're New York again.
Yeah, yeah. But right after he passed, you know, that's when I tuned out. I
Mm,
tuned out. I still play it.
mm,
I still play it on my radio show. I still play it, you know, when at home. But the new stuff, I don't play. The old stuff, I play. I play it to death. I'll play it
mm.
to the damn record has a hole in it. You know, I
Right.
will play it. I won't stop playing it.
Right. Your thoughts on Onyx? Because when Onyx came out with Slam, even though you probably never knew how to fight, you wanted to fight somebody as soon as that opening beat for Slam came on.
Yeah, that song. I remember playing that song at a party one time. A fight broke out because everybody got into this little mosh pit type thing. You know, everybody wanted, you know, and yeah, a big fight broke out. We had to shut it down.
It was that gritty,
Yeah,
sewer, grimy. Don't look at me. Don't step on my Timbs. If you do,
that's the kind of hip
you
hop
getting
I
the beat
like.
down. That dirty, that gritty. And I look at it as the equivalent to what was going on down south with the whole crunk movement with Little John, everything that was coming out of Atlanta, and what 3-6 Mafia was doing out of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
That same energy. You know, look at me wrong. We fight.
Mm-hmm. That's the kind of hip hop I love.
Yeah,
I
and
love
it's to
that.
me, it's like the rap version of punk rock.
Yeah, yeah. You
Rap
could say
version of
that.
punk. You
Yeah,
know,
you could say that because they're bumping into each other, going crazy. Yeah, I get it.
you're taking
I can
all
see
of
that.
that energy and you just So what was your take on hearing a lot of the international acts taking their spin of what hip hop is in America, but adding their cultural flavor to it, like the grime movement out of the UK and other countries? Because, you know, like you said, hip hop is global now.
It's global. Yeah, it's global. I mean, you know, some of these guys, I don't understand them, but I can tell that they're saying something. So I I I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I support it.
All right.
I support that stuff from back then. You know, all that I mean not back then, all that stuff from overseas, yeah, I support it. I
Right.
can play it.
Yeah, because we know that a lot of the DJs from those countries that are on the EDM circuit
Mm-hmm.
or hip hop DJs were probably paying a pretty penny on the black market for those DMC tapes and
Yeah,
studying all of those DJs like DJ
yeah,
Cash Money out of Philly, DJ
yeah,
Aladdin, DJ Spinbad. The list
yeah,
goes on and on of all the
yeah.
guys that
Mixmaster Mike,
cut their teeth doing the
Mixmaster Mike,
DMC
yeah.
circuit. Yeah, man. Cause
Gilbert, yeah, all these cats, I get it.
yeah, man. So if you had to say, what would be your go-to record that would get the dance floor packed if you're at any club? What would be that one record that you know for sure is going to pack the floor?
Love is the message. You
MFSB.
play, do you play Love is the Message? You just the people. Oh my God, that's my people jump. People go crazy and jump on the floor. They have to. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you.
Right. And oh, we cannot forget the important contributions of house coming out of New York. Man, Paradise Garage, The
Yes,
Loft, Larry
yes,
Levan,
yes,
all of those got Frankie Knuckles. I mean, house
yes.
music.
I met those guys. Those guys are. I mean, rest in peace, Larry Levan. You know, and Frankie Knuckles. Wow. I mean, yeah. I met them very briefly, and those guys, man, they made me fall in love with house music, and that's what I do today. That's what I'm doing today. You know, tonight I have a house music show that's coming on tonight
Okay.
here in New York.
All right. Yeah, house music is definitely well received, well loved, and like you mentioned, Love is the Message, MFSB, out of Philly International, Kenny Gamble,
Yeah.
Leon Huff, that whole Philly soul sound still prevalent to this day. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory on TSOP. So what ended up happening was Don Cornelius wanted Gamble and Huff to do a theme song for Soul Train. So they did it.
Uh-huh.
But Don was so protective of the name and trademark, said, nope, you can't name it Soul Train. So that's why they named it TSOP.
Right.
And Don Cornelius said that was the biggest mistake that I've ever made, you know, not naming the song Soul Train, because it is associated with the show.
Sounds of Philly, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, the sound of Philadelphia. And then also,
Right.
while No Limit out of New Orleans was out doing their thing, there was another label started up in New Orleans by Baby and his brother Slim, Cash Money Records. And then that also gave us the likes of BG, Juvenile, Turk, and the self-proclaimed greatest rapper alive, Lil Wayne. And it's just amazing for me to see how two record labels from the same part of the country had such a big impact on hip hop. Yeah. I mean, when you see that TurboTax commercial with all people are tax people, I'm like, that's just nothing but gentrified New Orleans bounce.
That's it.
That's all that is. So the beauty
I'm here for the New Orleans bounce. I like the New Orleans bounce.
Yeah, I love the New Orleans bounce too. It had that same kind of feel like Miami bass, just not heavy on the bass. But speaking out of Miami, we also had Slip and Slide come out of Miami with Trick Daddy, Trina. Mm-hmm. We have the success of Pitbull, Rick Ross, and then DJ Khaled. To see how Khaled went from being just known in just Miami and Florida and to just be worldwide, just goes to show like
he was Fat Joe's DJ.
Wow, I did not know that.
He was Fat Joe's DJ. He was down with the Terror Squad.
Wow, I did not know that.
You telling me you never seen DJ Khaled wear that TS chain?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he was down with Terror Squad, man. He was the DJ for the whole team. Right, yeah, and right after Pun died and all that, that's when, he started, getting his wings and started doing his own thing, still doing stuff with Fat Joe, but doing his own thing on the side, doing mixtapes and things like that. His albums are all mixtapes to me, because he I don't know if he's making these beats. He's probably buying these beats. I don't know, because I'm not in the studio with them, so I don't know what the hell they're doing in there. But every DJ Khaled album that I've heard was a grand slam for me.
Right. Khaled's records get the party moving now.
Yeah.
Is Staten Island looked at by the other inland boroughs as like the forgotten borough because they're kind of isolated? And once Wu-Tang hit, everybody was kind of like, oh, these guys are from here?
Wu, the greatest rap group ever. That's the greatest rap group ever. Wu-Tang, hands down, the greatest rap group ever.
I agree wholeheartedly. To take 9 guys, every last one of them can spit, but to put all of them in a group and to still have your personality shine through, that is unheard of. And what RZA did with Loud, shout out to Steve Rifkin, very unheard of, where if you don't know how the industry works, people, I'm going to explain a little something to you. When a group is signed to a label, the label has what is called right of first refusal. So when a member wants to cut a solo record, that label has first dibs. RZA was like, no, you're going to sign us, but we're going to each work our own solo deals to other labels. That was totally unheard of before or since.
Right.
So you got to give RZA props for having the business sense and seeing the future that we're all 9 separate superstars. We're not going to be tied down to this one label where you're making money off of us as a group and sololy, because as we know, the music industry, the contracts are not, set up for the artists. But shout out to all the Wu, RZA, Jizza,
all of them,
Method Man, rest in peace, ODB, Raekwon, Capadonna, You Got, Ghostface, man, never will be matched again. And Cold Chillin', Marley Marl, his production, untouched, unmatched. Big Daddy Kane,
I remember
my
the
top
beef.
5.
I remember the beef with him and
BDP.
Boogie Down Productions. Yeah, I remember hearing a story that Marley told where they was having that beef, those two. And one day Marley was in the studio and the session was over. So he decided to, they left. When they left the studio, he left a box with all of his sounds, disc. He left that behind. And the next people that were coming in was the BDP crew. And they saw that box and they took some sounds from him, from the Juice Crew, from Marley, and they used it for The Bridge Is Over.
And Marley was like, "Hey man, they jacked my drum kit."
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's crazy. And then what's crazy is when EPMD first came out with You Got to Chill, when they sampled More Bounce to the Ounce by Zapp, a lot of people thought that they were from the West Coast because not a lot of East Coast acts were using funk samples at that time.
Right. Yeah. And so they still use it up to this day.
Yeah.
Like Eric Sermon just dropped a new album and he's still using that same sound, and it's a dope sound. I mean, it's timeless. Like I said, these not old rappers, but these rappers from back in the day, they made timeless music. You could play that anywhere today. Today's music, you play it today, and that's it. All right, I'm done.
Now, with your thoughts,
I'm such a hater. I don't believe that. I don't believe I said that, but I'm such a hater.
Right. No. You like what you like. The new stuff is not your cup of tea, and you prefer the more seasoned veterans of hip hop. That's going to be the When you got a little bit of salt with that pepper, that means you are seasoned. And we got to talk about salt and pepper. To me, the female equivalent of
Yes,
Run
of
DMC.
Run DMC. Of
3 women knocking down the doors for all other females to come after them. And their impact, they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, they should be. But you know, the mother of all female rappers, the mother of all female rappers was Sha Rock. You want to take it back. Sha Rock from Funky 4 plus one more. That's mommy for all the female rappers. Because she was the first one ever on a record with a bunch of dudes doing her thing, and she made the dudes sound good. She made that Funky 4 sound good.
And then we could also talk about Pebbly Pooh, and then of course one of my top 5 female MCs, Roxanne Shante. Rhyme just as hard as a dude when she put out Big Mama.
Yeah,
like
man.
She was calling them out. How you want it served?
Yeah,
I'll give it to you any way you want it.
Yeah, come on, Shante, man. And then the girl that I grew up with, we lived right across from each other. Sparky D, remember Sparky D? Remember that beef? Remember that beef she had with Roxanne Shante when that Roxanne record came out? And then those two, they made an album together called Roxanne Shante versus Sparky D. And it was a battle album. Those two against each other throughout the whole entire album. Every record, it was just them going against each other.
Right. And another underrated MC that I feel gets overlooked a lot, Special Ed.
Of course. That's another track if you play at a party today, people get up to dance.
Yeah, I Got It Made, still a banger. You know, Chub Rock, banger. Shout out to Howie T.
Right.
Yep, Chub Rock, banger. Kwame.
Rob Bass.
Yep, It Takes Two still gets played to this day.
Still gets, yes. These guys are eating off these songs, and they will eat off those songs for a very, 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 very long time.
Right. They still will, and a lot of people was clowning this guy back in this day. But if you look at how pop rap is now, this man was pushing numbers that nobody thought rap could go at this time. I'm talking about
Hammer?
Yes, sir.
MC Hammer.
Yes, sir.
MC Hammer, you play Can't Touch This. You play Can't Touch This, people get up. They get up. You know what I'm saying? You play that. I think white people get up more for him than anything, but yeah, man. MC Hammer, I thought MC Hammer was dope. You know, he was stupid for the way he lost his money, but you know, things happen. You know, God bless him. He's still doing his thing. You know, I'm sure I've seen him in commercials. He's making money.
Yeah. But what was smart though, he knew that rap needed to go to the suburbs in order to have that worldwide appeal. And also we gotta look at everything that was coming out of Oakland at that time. You had Too Short that was coming out of Oakland. You got E40 out of Oakland. You got the new acts like G-Eazy. Then you had acts like The Far Side. You had Mighty Souls and Mischief.
It's funny because I never knew Far Side was from Oakland. I never knew that.
Yeah, I think they're from Oakland. I could be wrong. So anybody who knows where Far Side is based out of, either Northern Cal or Southern Cal, let me know. But I want to say either Northern Cal or Southern Cal that Far Side is based out of. I think I know Looney's for sure from the Bay.
I used to love Far Side, man. I used to love Far Side.
You know, very dope, and you know, Dale the Funky Homo Sapien. I heard
they was making a comeback, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that happened.
That's new news to me. I haven't heard anything. But another young rap group that I thought was super dope. These were young cats. They were like a teen version of Onyx. They were out of Philly, the Youngsters.
Yeah, the Youngsters, yeah.
I thought they were dope. Cruise Pop, Who Got the Props, Hip Hop Rod, you know, and then also the Going Live.
Who Got the Props? Wait a minute, Who Got the Props? That was
Black Moon, wasn't it?
The Black Moon.
That was Black Moon. Black Moon, yeah. Shout out to Duck Down. You know, they got your open record, you know, still fire to this day.
Of course, that's another timeless classic record.
And then another record that gets everybody on the floor, that Uptown Anthem, Peter Guns, Lord Tariq, which samples
wow,
Black Cow by Steely Dan off of the
right.
Asia album. Dope record.
Yeah.
I mean, the record was so dope. Wyclef had to sample it for Shakira for Hips Don't Lie.
Right.
Yeah, that's how
And
dope that.
wait a minute. Let me give you let me give you a little something off that record. That those trumpets in the beginning, those trumpets come from a salsa song by a guy named Jerry Rivera. Young guy named Jerry Rivera. Yeah, that trumpet is a sample of a salsa record.
Man, I did not know that. And then also we got to look at too. Before the score came out, Fugees was signed to Rough House and they put out the album Blunted by Reality. But then once the score came out, that led to them being super huge. And then of course we saw what Lauryn Hill did with the Miseducation, how she was able to merge hip hop and R&B. Man. Yeah, dope album will never be matched. That album
was incredible, man.
Will never.
And she never made anything like that again. Like, what happened?
Lauren? I mean, when you make an album that huge, it's hard to kind of top yourself to make an album. While Dangerous was good, it wouldn't top Thriller. While whatever your biggest seller album is, the next album probably won't be as big or be just as good as that. So.
I get it. I understand that.
And also want to say about how hip hop, if you look at what Dre and Snoop has done, I mean, from NWA to Snoop solo stuff, Dre solo stuff, to Beats by Dre with Snoop putting Bow Wow in the game, and to just see how Snoop has evolved. And
Snoop has evolved into something. He's a major machine today. You see, he's got a show with Martha Stewart. Come on, he's got it. Whoever thought that Snoop and Martha Stewart would have a show together? Who?
No, nobody. Strange Bedfellows.
Yeah, and you see that those two are the best of friends.
Right, and we could also say the same for Queen Latifah and Will Smith, how they started out rapping, both got on TV, Living Single and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they transitioned to movies to where there's generations of kids that don't even know of their rap history.
No, they don't. And that's something that really hurts my heart, man. My nephew, I remember, but this happened a long time ago. My nephew, I told him, I asked him, I said, listen, how did hip hop start? How did rap music start? He said it was Soulja Boy. I said, well, what? I said, he's not even a dope rapper. He's not even a good rapper. What do you mean Soulja Boy? What is a Soulja Boy? I said, no. And then I had to break it down and teach him. He was sitting there like, he didn't know. Of course you didn't know. You're a youngin'. You don't know. Right. Now here's somebody who's been there, who's been doing it. I'm teaching you what it is.
Right, but that's where the importance comes in.
Now this kid is a 90s hip hop fan. He don't listen to nothing but 90s hip hop.
Right. That's where the importance come in, where you pull out those vinyl records, you pull out those CDs, you pull out those tapes, especially the purple tape only built for Cuban Link, and say, study this.
Right. He wants to be a rapper.
That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day.
I can't stop him because I know what this business is like, and I don't want him to get hurt in this business, but if that's what I tell him, if that's what you want to do, man, then I'm here for you. I'll help you. I'll make the beats for you. I don't care.
So what is your thoughts on DJ culture now, where we've moved away from the physical vinyl and it's digital, using Serato and other digital spaces and controllers, to where it makes going to do parties more easy?
It's very easy because look, when I go to parties, right, I carry my turntables, my laptop, and my vinyl. There you go.
Dope.
my vinyl. So it's easier because of I don't have to carry a bunch of crates anymore. My crates are in. Eh, can you see this? My hard drive. This is my crates of records.
Nice.
I have well over maybe 80,000 songs in here. Maybe
Wow.
more. Maybe more.
Wow. Now, by DJing, it almost to me feels like you're a conductor because you're up perched in the DJ booth and you're eyeing the room. Is there
Uh-huh.
a way that you know maybe X amount of minutes into a set, like, okay, this song doesn't work, let me switch here, or oh, maybe I should put this song here, and you kind of always have to constantly be gauging the temperature of the room to know what
Yeah, you have to. You
to
have
and what
to.
not to play.
Yeah, yeah, you have to. Like before I go out to play anywhere, like a day or two before that, I'll go through my crates, my crates, my crates. I go through them and I start picking out hit after hit after hit, and I put it into one little folder. Now I have to see like if this is an hour's worth or 2 hours worth, because when I do set in a club, I may do an hour set or I just may be there all night. It all depends. But I know that I have to have my playlist ready with every track that I know that will keep people on the floor. Then I would bring the temperature down a little bit so they can run to the bar and get some drinks. And then after I see it, then boom, I hit you again, and then you're back on the floor to dance for another hour. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I do it. That's how
Right,
I do it.
right. And to all
I was
aspire, yeah, and to all aspiring DJs, have your business on point because if you don't, you're gonna get into some janky promoter stuff where they're like,
yeah,
we want you to
yeah.
do this for $75 or $100 or some free drink
No,
tickets. Nope, don't do
no,
that.
no, no. Let me tell you something. When I first not when I first started out, in my 20s, can I say that in my 20s and my 30s, I was making for a 1 hour set in a club, I was making $500. That was it. But now, you today, you will have to pay me anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 if you want me to play the whole night. I'm not doing it for no less than that because people think that, oh, he's a DJ, he's just playing records, that's all he's doing. No, I'm not only doing that. I am keeping your party hot. You know what I'm saying? I am playing these songs to keep your party hot. It takes a lot of work to blend one song into another song. It's not easy. It's not easy to scratch and to throw on right on to be on time to get the crowd hype and get them happy. It's a lot of work. It may look easy, but it's not.
Mm-mm. It is not easy, and that comes with years of practice, toiling
Yes,
away, getting at your
yes.
craft. So, for all those who think that, oh, because I push this button, push that button, that makes me DJ, no,
No, no,
no. Just because
no,
Serato can cheat for you and know your BPMs and all of that stuff,
no.
no, you had to manually
All of
know it.
yeah, all of it is cheating. I mean, for me, it is cheating. Even though I use Serato because I love Serato because it makes my life easy. But to be a real DJ, a real DJ, you have to train on a pair of 1200, Technique 1200. You have to know your pitch. You have to be able to pitch that song into the next song. You have to know that before you can move on to anything else. It's very important for you to train yourself and your ear as far as BPMs and tone, because you can't have something that's an E flat and you're coming in with a song that's a C major. You can't. I mean, it doesn't sound right. It sounds like a bunch of crazy noise. So you gotta know what you're doing. Turntables, practice on that, learn that, and then you can go with your Serato and have yourself a really hunky dory good time.
And be DJ, insert your name here. Now, tell us about your radio show, Rolling with Swanny.
Rolling with Swanee is it's a hip hop mixtape show. I play a lot of '90s. I play some '80s, '90s, 2000s and 2020 music. I play a little bit of everything. I'm cutting and scratching, talking loud, acting a fool, and people seem to like it. I have that show is I got well over 100,000 listeners on the RW on the All Digital Radio network. But my station on that network is RWS Radio. I have that every Fridays at 10 p.m. Saturdays is all house music, same time, 10 p.m. every Saturday. And sometimes I'll do shows like a Throwback Thursday. Shout out to my brother, the Professor. He has a show on there every Monday at 7 o'clock. He has the Professor's Lounge. It's a great show. He does a fantastic job. But yeah, that's what Swanny River's doing, I guess. Yeah.
Right, and all those times are Eastern Standard, so adjust those accordingly to your local time zones.
Yeah. Eastern
Please
Standard
do.
So listen, just so you guys, the link is www.rws.alldigitalradio.com.
There we go. I'm going to repeat it again to make sure you guys get it. It's www.rws.alldigitalradio.com. Once again, it is at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but be sure to adjust it in accordance to your local time zones.
Exactly.
Now, before we close this interview, Swanny, do you have any shout-outs you want to give, bro?
Yeah, I want to shout out my brothers, The Alliance. That's a group that I'm a part of. It's an LGBT hip-hop group. We have music on Spotify and Apple Music all over the place. Just look for The Alliance. It's spelled TheAlliance. Excuse me. It's The Alliance with a Y. Shout out to everybody who's doing their thing, man.
And give the links to your social media. Where can folks find you?
On Instagram is SRMG_RWS Radio. And I have another Instagram. Oh my God. I even forgot that. I don't even use that. But anyway, Facebook is Swanny River. Not Instagram. Twitter is RW Swanny and Swanny_River.
All right, so find him, follow him on all those social media platforms. You guys are going to tune into his radio show because I'm going to give you the link one more time. It is www.rws.alldigitalradio.com. Yep, catchy. And the time zone, once again, is Eastern Standard at 10 p.m., but adjusted accordingly to your local time zone. This video content of the podcast will be available next week on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/J85. And also the audio only portion will be heard on Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Podbean, and just got approved for submission on Apple Music. So yes, it will be on there next week. So tune in, love it. Follow the Facebook page for the show, facebook.com/Beyond the Album Cover, or you can go directly to anchor.fm/Beyond the Album Cover, all one word. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. DJ Swanny River, thank you for coming on the podcast, my brother.
Anytime, man. You need me, I'm here, brother.
Yes, sir.